What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we are going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. We're also going to be looking at DueDEX as well as the current coin market cap. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on a couple of things in today's video. There's quite a bit of stuff going on, and it's pretty crazy that we're really living through it, and we will get through it eventually, and that is basically some pretty awesome stuff that we have. Now, what I wanted to focus on was, as you guys know or have just been they just released the information, the Dow Jones actually closed below 20,000 points, which is the lowest it's dropped in one time, like in one point in a very, very, very long time, which is absolutely crazy. So we're seeing that the stock market is actually dropping and correcting back down to lower levels. But what's interesting is we're not actually seeing that happen within cryptocurrency, and that's why I find this stuff fascinating. As you guys can clearly see, Litecoin and a lot of the other cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are merely just trading out sideways. And this is very concerning, exhilarating, and amazing all in one time, and I'll explain later on in today's video. You can see the same thing happening within Bitcoin as well as Ethereum, and we do have XRP kind of hanging on in there at the bottom right here, so we'll discuss all of these in a second. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Remember to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial for all the latest updates, or if you guys want to hang in and talk about, anything that's on your mind. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. So, yesterday we made a video, very interesting video. I know it's so hard, and there's a lot I want to address in today's episode. Obviously, I like to be bullish. I love being bullish. I love talking about bulls, but I try to, give my unbiased opinion as best as I can. So that means that I will be also making bearish videos. And I know not a lot of people like to see that, but we do have to discuss the potential options of seeing correction move down. Now, what I wanted to point out in yesterday's video, which is quite interesting, is you guys can clearly see the thumbnail as we have sideways consolidation, sideways volume, sideways movement, and then ultimately we broke bearish and fell down. You can see that same pattern is now just starting to happen on these cryptocurrencies, and we're trying to figure out as to whether or not we're going to see that same correction and same stepping stone as we head lower. Is that going to happen, or are we going to break out bullish? Very interesting stuff all in all that I want to talk about. As you guys can see, top 10 cryptos. Let's update this real quick. You can see for the most part, markets are like flatlined, consolidating, no movement whatsoever. This is absolutely crazy. We haven't seen this in a very long time, months, if not years, but you guys can clearly take away from this that Bitcoin and the other top 10 cryptocurrencies are practically flatlined out except for Tether. Bitcoin, literally zero movement. Ethereum flatlined, XRP flatlined, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin SV, EOS, Binance Coin are all literally just trading sideways. No movement. We've talked about this day after day after day after day, that every single time we see sideways movement like this, we always end in some sort of major surplus of volume. Whether or not that's bullish or bearish, we'll figure out. But it's to come. Now, just a quick update for those on Patreon. It may get a little repetitive. That's okay. Now, obviously, in markets like this, we have to kind of sit back, relax, and watch and enjoy the ride. You can't really make much trades off of sideways movement when the price is literally in between $58 and $60. That's a $2, difference, and the same thing is applied to Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. And the fact that this has been pretty much the same thing that's going on right now, and the fact that we're literally not seeing much movement within prices, it's extremely difficult to, predict short-term tradings. Now, we do have discussions of long-term. We have made those posts, and we will continue to be posting them on, or I will continue to post them on my Patreon, more specifically due to the fact that there are still bullish and bearish scenarios. This sideways movement, the sideways market, the sideways trading is going to come to an end, and it's going to come to an end very hard with two potential options. We're either going to see a bullish break above 40 on Litecoin, exploding us up to 56, or we're going to see a bearish break below the $33 support, and we're going to see a collapse to extremely low levels that I guess nobody really wants to see. Very interesting that in 08, 09, when Bitcoin was created due to the economic crisis that we had, You can see now we're going through another one, and Bitcoin is also tanking. So it's very interesting to be playing these markets. But that's why, we invest with money that we are comfortable with losing. We don't invest more than we have, and that is why we use margin trading. And that is why I love using margin trading, because of how easily and effective it is to lock in profits, to reduce the risk that's happening within the markets right now, and basically figure out the best ways to take advantages of the movements. Now, obviously, for those of you that are already a part of my Patreon, you've been getting all my updates, moving forward with movements like this in the market. We are still putting out, I'm still putting out content on my Patreon, trying to get you guys ready for when this thing does decide to burst, which it will. So there is a link to that in the description if you do want to check it out. The same thing goes for the DueDEX, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Now, specifically looking at the Bitcoin charts, there's a couple of very interesting things to notice. We've been flatlined, we've been trading sideways. The uncertainty is slowly starting to die off. Volume is slowly starting to trade sideways. You can see we're slowly lifting ourselves out of the oversold market, which is great and all, but we are once again seeing a more predictable pattern starting to form on cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. You can see we do have an extremely strong resistance forming at 54.30 and an extremely strong support forming at $5,000. These are holding very well. The same thing applies, which what I said to Litecoin happens to Bitcoin. We've been tracking this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 days now, almost 1 week of sideways movement, very little volume. This is inevitably going to end very quickly and very rapidly with a ton of volume. That is what we're going to be trying to capitalize off of, preparing you guys for when this move happens. That's what I'm trying to put these episodes out for, so you guys are made aware of these. We have potential options, potential positions to open out on DueDEX. Obviously, we can use some risk management, and my specific trade will be posted on my Patreon when the time comes. But to give you guys a little, sneak peek of what it is, we've discussed this before. If we can set a conservative approach, if we know that we break above the resistance of 5,400, we're going to head back up to 6,000. We're going to head higher up. So that is why a buy-in order, a limit order at the $6,100 resistance, and vice versa, if we do decide to short the coin, and there is a huge possibility we'll be putting another buy-in opportunity, another limit order to short the market at $4,500. These are very two interesting, positions right now. We're trying to give ourselves a little bit more coverage in case we do decide to pump fake, like we've seen and have had experience in both directions of this coin. So that is what we're trying to kind of limit and prepare for. That's why we have the buy-in and limit orders below or above the wicks that we have in either direction. That's kind of how we take care of ourselves for that. You can see the same thing applies for Ethereum, another market trading sideways. We have a bearish cross right here, which could be a reference or a signal of the start to a lower drop. Obviously, if we do decide to break through our supports and head lower, we will be obviously adjusting our charts, figuring out where we'll be dropping to, how quickly we will be, when to take out profits, things of that nature. Now, lastly, to wrap up today's video with XRP, a coin that has been going absolutely haywire, you can see what's interesting to me is the fact that it looks like it's kind of bottomed out. Specifically, we're looking at this on a weekly standpoint, unlike the other cryptos. You can see that there is a clear resistance on the coin. Clear downtrend, very obvious. You guys know that. We broke bullish outside of here, much more violent than the last one. But what's interesting to see is what I originally thought was us breaking below here looks like we're actually toppled off above it. And it looks like we're going to use this as a support. Interesting thing is we, critically destroyed all of our previous supports, and we've just blasted below that, which is not necessarily a good thing. So the fact that we're using this to trade above is nice and all, but we could just be trending above here and just heading lower and following it down as we get lower and lower and lower into the, less than double digit cent range, which is definitely not a good sign for XRP. But as you guys know, it's not specifically just the markets. It's everything in the US right now is getting hit very, very, very much. So coincidental, I'm not too sure. It's just the US markets that are really getting affected, but it's a, nationwide pandemic that's really happening, and we'll see how exactly in turn this affects crypto and things like that. But ultimately, that is going to wrap up today's video, guys. If you are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter, guys. Definitely make sure to take advantage of that. Follow me on CryptoV Official. I'd love to talk to you guys, discuss all the stuff that we cannot necessarily say on YouTube, but have, full privilege to discuss on Twitter. So definitely make sure to head on over there, hop on over there at CryptoV Official. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.